That would be amazing. Okay, I'm gonna look. I want to make sure because I'm gonna go 30 minutes because Brantley likes to talk. So.
Hey now.
Hey now. Okay.
Yeah, Brantley, you better keep it snappy, mate.
Yeah. All right, so we're doing this. Okay, so I want to welcome everybody to Mimosas with Michael. We're taking a real quick selfie here. I'm your host, Michael Colomb, and I have two really amazingly fun and awesome guests. I have one in studio, Mr. Edward Coupland.
Hello.
And we have one on Skype, Mr. Brantley J. Brown.
Hello.
And a lot of people know Brantley because we just did the reading of his movie Chuckles, which we talked about on the YouTube channel. And then everybody knows Edward because we mention him a lot on a lot of our posts. But I thought it'd be kind of fun because we're working on a project together. And we don't have to talk about this specifically, but we are working on a project together. So Brantley and I are writing, and Edward's going to be producing and starring in it. And so I was given the story about, it was a ghost story about a woman on a date and something happened to her. And I worked with this woman, Rochelle, and she's amazing. And she told me the story, and it creeped me out so bad. And when I was thinking about something else to write, I wrote this short film called Obispo Road that you wanted to direct. I mean, you wanted to produce, and then one day you're like,
don't want to direct just quite yet.
Yeah, no. But you're like,
ever do.
You're like, I want to produce it. And then you came up to me and said you wanted me to turn it into a feature.
Yeah.
And I brought on Mr. Brantley to help me write it. And
you're both doing a great job so far, I gotta say. Just put it out there.
Oh no, we're very proud of ourselves.
No, it's good.
It's mostly Brantley. No, we're both writing it.
No, we do equal.
But it's fun. It's really interesting. So here's the thing. So I knew Brantley, I knew you, and so then we all got together. And it's interesting because I wrote the script, the short film, based on a story, and people I didn't know. But it's interesting now that because I was trying to explain to you, I was like, oh, he's tall, he's good looking, he's got he's
super ugly. Next elephant man, me. That's me.
And I was like, we have to write a story. Of course, you also aren't going to be playing an Englishman, you're going to be playing American.
That's right.
So I was like, we have to write this. Let's just meet him. It'll be so much easier. So we met you and Brantley. So what was it like when you first met Edward? And how much easier is it to write with him now that you know what he looks like?
The first meeting was intimidating because I didn't know what to expect. Because at that point, I'd only heard about him. And, of course, like anybody who finds out that they're working on a film and they're like, okay, who's the producer and who's going to be acting in it? Who is it?
Well, I said nice things about him, though.
I don't know any of this conversation, so this is the first time I'm hearing this. So
this is why it's fun. I love it. Surprise!
Michael had told me about you, Edward, and so I decided, well, let me do some research. And I remember looking at him, I was like, oh my God, he's a giant. And then
that is true. You're 6'4", right?
Yes. Well, it depends. I've lied about my height so many times. Like when I was the model, it was 6'2.5" and 6'4". I actually don't know how tall I am, but yeah, probably like 6'4".
Okay, we'll go. I think you're tall. Anyways, go ahead.
So yeah, I'll say it was more intimidating because especially I was sitting down and when he walked in, he's just huge. And then, he's moderately attractive. So
he has his moments from the side if you look really quickly while you're sneezing.
I was kind of in awe, but once we got to talking, it was like talking to an old friend. It was really easy. So it was a great first meeting.
Now what's really funny is I told him about you, and I said we always go to the same place, Aroma, because that's like your spot to go. And I said he always is either coming from the gym or going to the gym, so you're going to always be in workout clothes.
Or hiking with my dog now because I have like a 5-month-old puppy. So
I know, and then of course you show up and you're like dressed nice. You have like a really tight fitting shirt, and like I was like I didn't even recognize you because I've never seen you.
Because when I usually meet you, it's usually like I'm like coming from the gym, like you said. I'm usually in workout clothes, and it's LA, so it's like I'm just kind of relaxing and chilling out a bit.
Yeah, and it's just like, and usually you and I are just usually catching up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like, so I was like even surprised, and of course Brantley was with his husband, so you show up and his husband's like, I got to keep an eye on Brantley real quick. It's really funny. But with all jokes aside, so we met you. I think we had a great first meeting.
Yeah.
And we were so like meeting you and sort of like getting your vibe now. it was so like, Brantley, what do you think? It's so much easier to write now. Like we know what he looks like. In fact, sometimes.
Yeah, and
No, this is just a mask. You know?
Yeah, of course.
I think it's actually funny because we've caught ourselves sometimes, and I'm really bad about it.
I was about to say this.
I think I have a hard time differentiating sometimes in the character Edward and the character who is Ryan.
Ryan.
Because I even accidentally, I think in the script, one of the parts I put Edward's name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that on the last.
Yeah,
last
like
drafts I got. I was like, oh, I'm Edward now, right?
Yeah. And it's real, and we do that, and we'll be talking on the phone. I'm like, it wouldn't be really great if Edward. I mean, if Ryan did this, and he's like, yeah, it'd be. Oh, Edward. I mean, no, it has to be Ryan. It's the funniest thing. It's like, and it's funny because we want to write a character that isn't you, but for some reason, it's like, now that we know you, it's sort of like, as a writer, of course, we're writing characters around you that aren't casts yet, so we can give.
Sure.
So it's so interesting to see the dichotomy of like writing a character for somebody you know as opposed to writing for somebody you don't know.
Yeah.
But but I'd say it's a really good benefit to a writer if like we know him. So I think in the end it's going to make the character probably 10 times more authentic than if somebody, you know, even as good as an actor can be, whenever they're randomly cast for a role, you know, it can be hit or miss.
True.
But I think Ryan comes off as very real. But that's because we somehow work a real person in there, even though, you know, it's a fictional character. But I mean, he's real.
Yeah, well, for me, like, I see a lot of Ryan's traits are in my personality. You know, I kind of mirror a lot with Ryan, which is he's Ryan. He's not me, but there's a lot of things he do, and like, you know, the way he's with his girlfriend or the things he does, and you know, I'm like, wow, that's how I am, you know.
Yeah.
In my life, so it's kind of cool, you know.
Hey, Brantley, we did good.
Very good.
Yeah, and this is only first draft. We're still working on it. I know this is so prelim to talk about this on the podcast, but I've been wanting to have both of you on for so long, so I just thought it'd be kind of fun to just sort of talk about writing and what'll be great about this is we can talk about, because it's the beginning stages, and then sort of as we grow with the project, we can reference things on Instagram and stuff. It'll be kind of fun, and people can see the process all the way from like, hey, I remember listening to the podcast, and now we're seeing the movie, and we're going to the screenings, and they want our autographs and our pictures.
Mm-hmm.
But they want your autographs and pictures. They don't want mine.
Yeah, I don't know. You're the 6'4" good looking giant.
Come on.
No, Brantley and I, we have our own charm. So Brantley, what am I like as a writing partner?
Frustrating. No, you're great.
I knew you were going to say that.
No, it's actually very easy to write with you. I wasn't sure how it was going to be because, you know, whenever you're used to working on your own, which I am, I had never had a writing partner before.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how it was going to go. If, you know, we were going to completely tear each other apart whenever you would write something or I wrote something. But yeah, it's actually you're very easygoing when it comes to the writing, and you're very supportive of things that I do, and it's nice because we can return that favor I can return it to you.
Yeah. I
don't know. What do you think it's like writing with me?
Well, I will tell you, I was a little nervous at first as well, especially when so the initial meeting was really me and Edward talking about adapting this into a feature, and I was like, I have no ideas at all of what to do, and I skirted with the idea before on several times that we hung out, but I had no idea, and I was like, man, and I knew I had read a little bit of your other script, so I kind of knew. I knew you could write, and I knew we had similar style, and we got along so well as friends. So I was like, well, if I can't write, I know he could if I was filming or something or traveling, and vice versa with you. So I was like, well, it seems like a good fit. But I didn't realize like how good of a fit it would be. And one of the things, I don't know if I've ever mentioned to Edward, but one of the things I like is I'll be reading the script, and I'm like, he really needs to exit here. And then like you do it. It's like we sort of really get each other with that process. So like sometimes I'll go back and rewrite or reread something you've written. I'm like, I mean, I would say the same thing. So the writing process has been strangely easy, which is actually a good thing. It makes me feel good. Like we actually know this project well. And I think that's a good sign that the project will be good.
Yeah. For me, just to add, for me as an actor, like reading it, you know, I would not be able to tell that two people co-wrote it. It looks like just someone wrote it themselves because they both have similar ideas, but the dialogue and everything just seems to mesh and seems to like completely match. It's like so in sync.
Yeah.
It's great. You know?
Which is actually really funny because a lot of the scenes that are with you and your girlfriend, Brantley has written, and a lot of the scenes with like you're a father, I wrote, and then we sort of worked on the other scenes together. It's really interesting, and yeah, that makes me happy.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because even though, you know, I'm in a relationship with another man, and in this story it's a man and a girl, it's a universal language whenever you are in love with somebody.
Yeah.
You know, you talk to them a certain way, you act a certain way around them, and it was so easy to put myself into those scenes. And they just came out so fast. It was like,
Yeah.
It was the most natural thing I'd ever written.
And since I'm single as fuck, I get to write all the scenes with your drunk father. It's perfect.
But I said that as well. I was reading it when, remember, we were at Roma, and I was like, oh man, I was like, seriously, this is just how I am with like girls. Well, it's just how I am with my girlfriend. I'm like, you nailed it.
Yeah.
And like, you know, it's just so. I was like, you totally nailed what it's like to be with a relationship with a girl, you know?
Yeah. Well, and I think, and Brantley, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but sometimes it's not about. It's like we sort of try to write the emotion or sort of write a specific mood in a scene, like. We keep coming up with a recurring theme of like with the crow, or certain things like that. We'll have like a theme that we try to match to make the movie feel sort of not synonymous, but like a certain synergy within the film. You know.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
So we'll create a mood, and it's like so. Then the words are just like secondary in that sense, right? And so then Brantley and I will sit and talk about like, what do you think would happen in the scene? How do you think Ryan's character would react? How do you think Haley would act? And sort of like that. And so then we have our mood, and we just kind of build from there. I don't know about you, but I think we kind of just took a chance on each other and hoped for the best.
Yeah, we did. And I was actually very pleasantly surprised when you asked me to join in the writing.
I think you and I both were.
Because
I'm just kidding.
you know, I had,
I'm such a dick. I'm just kidding.
But, you know, it was one of those things, and that's why, you know, you had mentioned earlier we just had to read for Chuckles, and I always told AJ before we came to California, I said, I don't know how and I don't know when, but I think Chuckles is going to open doors for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it did in a lot of ways. You read the first 15 pages of it, and you liked it so much.
I mean, it's intense just in the first 5 pages. I was like, shit.
So I got
way,
my
yeah.
first, official writing job off of Chuckles. So,
We have to thank Edward for that.
Yes, thank you, Edward.
Well, yeah, I didn't know you either. I mean, me and Michael, we met in a terrible movie. We won't say the name. Yeah, it was a fun movie. In fact, my brother was, I don't know if I told you that, my brother's friends were in Geneva in Switzerland, and they were like, oh, this is your brother, and it's still playing on Fox and stuff. I'm like, God, I thought I would have forgotten about that. So I knew Michael from then back in like 2013 we did that? I think so, something like that.
That sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years ago. But I didn't know Brantley. So Michael was like, Brantley's good, he's a good writer. So I was like, okay, cool. And, everything happens for happens for a reason. Nothing's a coincidence. It's the law of attraction is the universe, and how it all meshed together is like,
I try to follow my gut in that sense.
Yeah.
But I knew Brantley was in a place in his life where he was able to probably write more, and I was, especially with a lot of the health issues I've been going through, I knew I wasn't per se. So I was like, at least with Brantley, he and I talk so often that I knew he'd be able to tell me like, dude, shut up and just write, and I would allow him to do, So I liked having somebody on this particular project to hold me accountable, and vice versa. And then of course we're held accountable by you, Edward, to have a great project. But I mean, I want to say thank you for believing in me, and by Brantley by extension, because we're just people trying to write a script.
Yeah, but we're all a team. It's all a team thing. At the end of the day, it's everyone's as equally important as everyone, because
Yeah.
It's without every single component coming together and on an equal basis, nothing gets done. So
without a doubt, yeah,
that's how it is.
And have you noticed? And this is how I could always tell how equally passionate we all are about the film. It's because on our own we're excited about it. But every time we've met up or gotten to talk about it, it's like there's this energy surrounding the whole thing, and it's very infectious.
Yeah.
In fact, I have never felt as optimistic about something before. I mean, I'm probably sometimes annoyingly optimistic
That's
to
true.
Michael about it, but
I love that. You need that. And I will I don't know if I told you, Edward, but I sent the script we have thus far, even though it's a rough draft, to Rochelle, whose story it was. I think I told this to Brantley, and she told me that when she reads it, it's like she's reliving that moment at the beginning. That's
Wow.
about her story.
I told you, you guys nailed it.
Yeah, and then Brantley, are you there?
I am.
Oh, you're
here.
so. You're never
I'm just
this-
listening.
I know you're never this
At this
quiet.
moment.
He's never. Michael said he's never quiet. He's like, Brantley doesn't shut up.
I know.
We've
I was
got
like
30
looking to make
minutes.
sure
I'm
like it was
okay.
still online. But yeah, so she's reading it and she's loving where we're going with it, and she says she really connected to it. So that makes me happy because as a writer and and I think why the project is so good so far is that we have people who believe in it, but also we're being so true to the story, and I think and I'd love to be as true as we can, even when we produce and direct it. But it was such a creepy story in the first place. I mean, most people don't know this, but it's a ghost story, and that's all I'm going to say. But we're so true to that particular moment and expanding on it. I love that, and I think that's what's going to make it. So we're being true to ourselves as artists. We're being so true to the story, and you have to have a good story before you have anything else.
And
That's
that's how it
very
all
true.
started, because you shared with me the story,
Yeah.
and I was like, wow, this story's great. But
Yeah.
it was only at that point, it was only like written as a short. So I was like, we've got
Yeah,
to
it's like
take this
10
on
pages.
and develop it, because it's such a great story where it can go. And
We're gonna have
that's
so much fun.
how it all started.
But I will tell you one thing.
Only one though.
I've
That's all you
enjoyed
get.
every part about writing it so far, but Michael knows this. I'm also ready to be done writing it
Oh yeah.
because some
yeah.
very creepy things have happened since we started writing this movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? You got to tell me. I don't know about this.
That's why I'm having this.
This is cool.
That's why we're having Mimosas today, so we can talk about this cool stuff. Yeah, Brantley, tell them a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah, I have had the slightest bit of history growing up with the supernatural. My family has always seen things, heard things, and I've seen things since I was a child. But it's been pretty quiet in the last couple of years until I started writing with Michael on Obispo Road.
Sorry.
And doors are locking by themselves in the house. We've seen figures walking in other rooms when there's nobody else home.
Fuck that.
AJ's heard voices coming from the basement. Just
Again,
very creepy things.
fuck
And
that.
even when I'm writing it, I get creeped out. I just feel like somebody's watching me.
We're gonna have such a good movie.
No, I can relate, because my house in England where I grew up is haunted. So, I mean, the thing is with ghosts, people think all ghosts are evil, but there's a lot of entities that are not necessarily evil, they're trapped. And, you know, my house, they're not evil, but things will fly off the wall. Like, my little sister was in her room and Michael Jackson, this picture flew across the room. I'm like, well, they obviously not like Michael Jackson.
Let's be honest. I think we all would have done the same.
Hey, I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. I like
I love it,
great
dude.
music's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we all have that kind of like.
And I grew up in a haunted
stuff,
house too. Yeah.
You know.
I mean, when I was a kid, I heard voices all the time. So I think, and this is great. So we have this sort of energy around us, and we're able to bring this into the project.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are gonna like it. I mean, if we're having this much fun, I think it's gonna come across. I mean, because Brantley, you're right. Like, yeah, this is like your first writing job, but it's not. It's not a job to us. You're like, I get to write. This is great. Michael, look what I wrote. Because and Brantley and I will do this. So we'll kind of talk where we want the story to go, and then he's like, I'm gonna try it real quick and see what I can do, or vice versa. So he'll be
Yeah.
like, I wrote for like 5 hours. There's a surprise scene. Let me know what you think, and then I'll go back and like I kind of will tweak some things and write it, and then I leave a surprise scene for him, and vice versa. So he kind of go back and tweak, and because since we don't live in the same city, we kind of have to do it that way. And it's been sort of fun to see this sort of progression of like where one of us take the story, and then we'll be stopping, going, where do you think it should go next? Okay, so that's sort of how our process has been, and it's really fun.
That's cool. I didn't know that, because I'm like, give me the latest version. They're like, oh, I've got
Yeah.
to clean up. I'm like, just send it me. And I'm like, oh, cool. Is this scene? Is this scene? I was like, this is great. And it's just like it all just flows.
Yeah.
Effortlessly.
One of the best things about those surprise scenes is because we do think so much alike.
It's really
almost
strange,
creepy.
yeah.
Because I'll say, I know we already discussed that this is where this is going to go, but I just suddenly had this idea and I had to put it in there. If you don't like it, we can take it out, but just tell me what you think. And before you ever get done reading the scene, you're like, yeah, and it's going really good so far. And you know what I think should happen? And I'm like, well, just read a little bit further because it already does.
Yeah. Yeah. I've noticed that too. And then we've actually gone back and added a couple of things in regards to the first characters that we expanded on them, and so Brantley was able to go back and add a couple of things to the beginning, which is nice. So it's really starting to shape up nicely. I'm loving it. It's one of the. I mean, I love everything I've written, but to just have this random idea and I wrote the short film like in between setups on set one time, and so to like be here where we're extending it into a feature, it's just really the most. And I tell people, they're like, I love the title. And here's another sign, which Brantley, I don't know if you remember, but when we did the reading of Chuckles last week, the woman that played the lead actress in his movie is from that area. She's from San Luis Obispo, of where technically our movie takes place. And I was telling her about it. She's like, I need to read it. I was like, well, yeah, we have to write it first. but it's like all those signs are pointing. Even the woman Rochelle that I wrote, she's having some an issue right now in her life personally, and she said that somebody in her life gave her a Bible quote to help her through this difficult time, and it's the exact same quote I use in the script. And I just picked that quote because it felt right. Wow. It's just like, and I love that. I mean, there's all these signs. Yeah, there's a lot of things I didn't tell you. I was waiting to read Mimosas.
Yeah, this is I mean, nothing's a coincidence in the universe. Nothing's a coincidence. Every single thing that ever happens is meant to happen for a reason, you know.
Yeah. So that's why I wanted you guys to get together. I wish Brantley could be here with us to have a real mimosa, but next time.
But I don't drink, so I'm not drinking mimosas.
No, you are drinking. Okay. I'm having the mimosa. I don't care.
It's got orange juice.
I know I can't have that much, but it's okay. Real quick, since we're having such a great time, what's happening in your life, Edward, and then what's happening in your life, Brantley?
What's happening in my life?
Just a small little recap.
My life's cool right now. Great things.
We definitely have a cute dog.
Yeah, I've got a cute dog. My stepdad just went to jail, so that's cool.
Oh, okay.
But that's just the thing. Yeah, I never really liked my stepdad, so there you go.
Okay, there you go.
Just throw that out there.
Oh shit. Okay.
But yeah, other than that, it's just busy with a lot of things. Busy with a lot of things. There's a lot of exciting things coming up. I've got something, I can't really talk about it, but
that's okay.
Something this summer, which is like another movie franchise I just gonna be involved in, and really, really great things about to take off. So
I'm not gonna wait for that.
Good times.
And what about you, Mr. Brown?
Oh, craziness. Life is just going extremely fast right now. But it's good. We've got Obispo Road, which I'm working on with you. And we just had the table read for Chuckles, and it's getting a great response. So it's in the very, very, very early stages of, kind of developing that.
I know, and film. I just want to point this out, that Chuckles is the very first thing you've written, the very first script you wrote, and it's really good. And the reading went really well, so I'm very proud of you for that. And
on with the attachments to Chuckles, I cannot believe I'm going to get to work with, and I already have gotten to work with her in the table read, Eileen Dietz. She was there from The Exorcist. Yeah. So I could have passed out, honestly.
Oh, well, she was in she's in Obispo Road, the short. Yeah. So I was telling her that we're expanding into the feature. She's excited about that. So she basically just kind of floats along with us, which I love. She's great. I know you haven't met her yet, but she's phenomenal. And she didn't have a chance to finish the whole script because I gave it to her so late for the table read. So, but she just came in and nailed it. And then even surprised ending it at the end, she kind of made a little like a surprise sound. It was just like, it was really cute. I mean, we have some good people around us, and I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I don't think I'd rather. I like the fact that I'm so busy right now because it just seems like there's so much to do. But I'd rather this is what I want to do. So I wouldn't have it any other way. But it is it's a bizarre life we lead in this filmmaking business, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's like when I was talking to you today, I was like, I have like 37 things because I'm prepping a feature. I'm going out of town. We're writing a couple of things. It's like, but I get bored if I'm not doing anything. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's how this podcast got started. I was like, I'm not doing enough. Let me do a podcast. And now it's like, fuck, this thing is busy. No, but that's good.
Well, that's what they say. You can sleep when you're dead. Until then, drink coffee, right?
So, yeah. Or mimosas.
I'm a coffee addict.
I drink. I wish I had coffee now, but.
I've got coffee.
Oh, look at this. Oh, because I'm going to be up all night long riding Obispo Road. I have to get up early and film, so. Anybody want to say anything? Any nuggets of amazing? I mean, we're getting close to done time, but I want you guys to be able to say everything you want to say.
I can't believe that it's already almost done time. It seems like, it just started. But, I noticed that when we all get to talking, time flies. Like,
Yeah.
even at the, in the meetings at the Aroma Cafe, it's just like we get to talking and...
Dude, we're there a long time.
Yeah.
I realized that, I mean, when you and I hung out, it was like maybe an hour and a half. And when we all get together, it's like, oh, it's Tuesday already? Like, we just feel like,
Yeah.
it goes fast.
Time
But
was
that's
pretty
good.
quick. That's good. But I think, like, I just wanted to add, I think, the whole reason about the film as well, like, we're all huge horror film movies and, we've done previous horror movies, but we wanted to write a story that was, it was a true story. It was, like, real. It was real life. It was very, it wasn't necessarily a horror movie. It was, it was a real story that had real substance, but it was also a horror movie. So I think that's what we're trying to do here. That was the whole point. So I just wanted to add that.
Well, it's also fun because so the one that this is a fun thing so the one that Brantley wrote, Chuckles, is a slasher, and then I wrote Axe, which is a psychological thriller. So now we're doing a ghost story, which is like so vastly different from the two that we both wrote. And it's also, I don't think you've done one similar to this, have you? Have you done a ghost story?
I did a movie in Spain called Spook,
Spook,
which was crazy because we actually filmed it in a 12th century Spanish mansion.
Oh shit!
Which was actually General Franco's stronghold. And we found all this Nazi stuff, so we're sure that Hitler was in the war, and
wow.
it was right by the coast. But some weird stuff used to happen there.
Really?
Like I was in a room in between takes, and I was just sleeping a little bit because we were on night shoots for like 2 months. We were filming for 4 months. The last 2 months were night shoots, and I was sleeping and I felt this like figure in the room and things brushed past me, right?
Oy.
And then the other my co-star, the other lead actor in the movie, he was in the same room, and I only found this out a few months later. And he ran out of the room like like what the hell is going on? Because he was back doing some reshoots. This was later on before I went back.
Yeah.
And we turns out we were both in the same room. And I mean, the lights would go out, and it was creepy. All the lights would go out, and
that's
just,
amazing.
like, it was cool. But it's cool to film a horror movie, a ghost story in a
haunted
place.
I would think it would definitely help set the tone.
Yeah, sort of moved on.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It was a kind of a psychedelic thing, but it was cool. It was cool.
And one of the things I like about this particular project, which is when I approached Brantley about it, is you were like, Michael, I want you to write a story that has a really good actor that I can sink my teeth into. And I was like, hey, Brantley, so we have to write a story with a really good actor with great scenes, but it's kind of also a ghost story. And you kind of are like challenged because sometimes, it's really about being scared as opposed to about the story. But I like this particular story because we're allowing the story to scare people. Like we're actually building a man who sort of has a descent into sort of madness. It's not a lot, but there's so many more layers to it, which I love.
Yeah, it's about souls and past lives and things that have gone on and things that have followed. But it's it's a very much a human story of all this stuff's happening, and you kind of have to resolve it because it starts to affect other people in his life that he loves, and he's like, well, I have to do something about it now because it's hurting people I love.
I think because it is such a human-based story at its core, it is. It's a story about people. Yeah. But
and
that
makes
was
it real.
The best thing about that is because, like you're saying, I was nervous about it because when you typically approach horror, you are primarily thinking about the scares.
Yeah.
But it's so weird how real life drama and horror kind of overlap because as we were coming up with these complex stories for, Ryan and Haley and the father, the beats kind of created themselves. The moments of tension and terror weren't hard to place in there at all because it became an extension of the emotion. So I've actually found it's it was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be to make this as scary as what it has turned out to be so far.
And emotions can be scary, I think.
Yeah, and part of the horror story about this is actually the fact of what these characters are going through. They are going through some tough stuff.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and when it affects people you love, there's, you die for people. Some people you're in a relationship with, you give your life for them. So it's like it's the same thing that's going on here, really. You know what I mean?
Oh, without a doubt. So wow, this is fun. I know we could talk all night, but we don't want to bore the audience because then they're like, we have to go see. But we do want them to go see the movie. So it's called Obispo Road. Again, Edward Coupland and Brantley J. Brown. I want to thank you guys both for being on the show. I know it's only like 30 minutes. We can't say everything we want to say.
I don't know. You know, we'll talk more whenever we do the next one before the movie comes out in theaters.
Oh yeah, I mean,
for sure.
And we'll record from set and everything. This journey's just
tons
beginning.
of behind the scenes
I'm
footage.
sure a lot of crazy shit's gonna go down when we start shooting.
I mean, if this much shit's happening when we're only writing the thing,
you know what I mean? Wait till we start filming.
It's gonna be like The
shit.
Exorcist all over again. All those stories that you hear years later about the curse of The Exorcist. And
Yeah.
it's gonna
Well, I
the
don't want it
curse
to be
of
cursed.
Yeah,
Delaware
let's
Road.
not hope half the cast dies or whatever. No, let's not say that. But we'll be fine, you know.
no, it's gonna
We'll
be
good,
the most
but
amazing experience
It's
ever.
gonna be fun. Yeah, and we're aiming to shoot it around Halloween, so that's gonna be fun.
No stress on
That-
our part, but we gotta get crack-a-lackin'.
I'm excited
We're
about
actually
that.
almost done.
That's like the perfect time of the year to film a horror story.
Oh yeah, just the
Yeah.
energy that comes along with shooting. I've shot a horror movie in Halloween, and there's so much energy around it. It's amazing. So I'm gonna say goodbye to these two amazing, wonderful people in my life that I've been blessed to work with and will continue to work with. Long after
Most
we
definitely.
do this movie, we're gonna do several
Likewise.
more, I would imagine.
For sure.
So this has been Mimosas with Michael. I'm your host, Michael Colomb. This is Edward Coupland, Brantley J. Brown. You can find the show on, wherever, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play. Please look for us. Find us on YouTube. You can find us all on Instagram. I'll post your links and everything. Please support indie filmmaking. Please support Edward and all his endeavors. Please support Brantley and all of his. And you can
And
support
you and yours.
And yeah, you're too kind. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.